Is your recording going, Jason? Your video? Okay. Hello.
I'm hitting start recording now. You didn't ask if all of us were recording.
Asked that shit a single time. You asked if my MP3 Skype recorder was going.
You didn't.
I just asked if you were recording your video, and then DJ yelled at me, so I assumed that meant we were all ready to go.
Well, I'm ready to go now.
Okay, we're gonna go now.
Are we?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery.
Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. Boom, we did it. It's a canon now.
What?
It's a thing. It's
That's canon, like Pocketball's canon.
The mortal enemy of Nikon.
It's a bit with a silent E at the end.
Corbin, did you never do any sort of music? You were never in band or choir or anything?
Well, one time
Corbin
when I was
beat those kids up and threw them in lockers. He would never.
Look. I mean, that's like mildly true.
I bet you played the piccolo or some shit until everyone made fun of you and you
I
quit.
didn't do any of that. Look, I can't sing. I assume tone deaf. I actually don't even know what tone usually is, so I don't know how to be deaf to it. But I know nothing about the theory of music or the music about music. I just know about country music.
No,
so you don't know about music.
So once when I was a kid, though, in like the 4th or 5th grade or something, right, we had music class once a week. And we would typically just watch Beethoven in the basement or Beethoven in the attic or whatever that stupid movie was.
That sounds like some serial killer shit.
Well, yeah, it was like a thing where they made movies that were like historical fiction or whatever with little kids. It was like a series of kids' movies. So that was a thing, and we would watch those. But one day our teacher was like, okay, today everyone's going to sing, and we're going to help you all or whatever. And he would like... You know, at some point he would like play a note or something and he'd be like, okay, everyone, or each person would be up there and he'd be like, try to match that. And some people were obviously better than others. And he would like give them a little advice. He'd be like high or low or whatever. And then I got up there and he didn't do any of that. I did my little thing. And then he was just like, okay, thanks. Who's next? So to answer your question, no, I've never been involved in music or band.
That sounds like you had perfect pitch. Like, what
Yeah,
if he
does
was
that-
like, that was
that's what
so
it
good,
was?
I'll just move on, but, like, you got discouraged because you were in your own head. And he's like, he went to look for you after class and be like, you got to join the choir, and you were, like, crying somewhere.
Huh. So, like, it was probably at that moment I decided I hate all the music and whatever
Corbin,
people.
And
Now
he didn't
I'm
want
going
to
to be a
embarrass you in
jock.
front of the whole class by
Yeah.
ranting about how good you were.
I see.
And he was distracted because, like, all high school music teachers...
No, this was grade
pick
school,
a female student, and then...
This was grade school.
Okay,
Corbin,
that's
So
a
what you're
little
saying
worse.
is my life track went on becoming like a jock bully or whatever who stole the ball from Blake Griffin and played basketball in college.
This is a Leonardo
But
DiCaprio
instead-
movie waiting to happen.
Yeah, but instead, this whole time I could have been an incredible singer. Then why does my son tell me to stop singing every time I sing in the car?
Corbin, no. You can be that person on American Idol who looks like a troll, and you just have like all the tree branches coming out of
I
her
could be
hair
the,
and like the
Susan
the next
McFadden.
Susan
No.
Boyle.
Yeah.
What was it? Susan Boyle. Yeah.
the cripple leg with like you ran into a pole in college and broke like all of the, you can troll it up and then you walk out there and then suddenly just a harmony of...
He comes out on America's Got Talent, and Howie Mandel just slams the X right away, and then he blows him away with an aria. This is Skimbleshanks' Railway song from Cats. Everyone's like, boo! And then he just nails it.
I've never thought about any of that, but I am going to Hamilton this weekend. It came to Oklahoma City. I'm going to Hamilton. And when I told my mom, she was like, "You're going to Hamilton? Why? Did you get forced into going?" And I'm like, no, it seems legitimately cool. Right? Like it's a thing. And I watch Moana and the same
It's
guy.
Oklahoma, though. I bet it's like George Hamilton. It's just him getting a tan for 2 hours.
It's just, you know, it's safe to say that my musical or band, you know, those things were not encouraged in my life, so to speak. But I did steal the ball from Blake Griffin.
Well,
Anyways,
it's good that your son hates singing also.
No. He likes to sing. He loves to sing. He sings to. He requests the individual Toy Story songs to sing to now.
Oh, so he's a diva. He's like, this is a
Oh, yeah.
solo!
Well, it's not like I'm singing Toy Story with. I'm actually not a fan of the Toy Story soundtrack. I prefer the Moana soundtrack.
Because it's Randy Newman, and Randy Newman sucks. All right, can I go on a mini
I don't even know who
Newman
Randy
rant?
Newman is besides
Oh
the
my
guy
God,
who did
what?
the Toy.
Jason, go.
He's the guy who did the Toy Story soundtrack. That's who Randy
Corbin,
Newman
shut
is
up.
to me.
Yeah, but like Randy Newman's actually insane. If you listen to any of Randy Newman's songs, like his biggest hits were all insane, right?
What?
Like
I don't
his
like
song
good.
Short People.
Explain to me like I'm 5, Jason. Like I've never.
Okay,
listened...
Randy Newman has a song called Short People, and the chorus is "Short people got no reason, short people got no reason, short people got no reason to live." And they played that
Are
on
you
the
being
radio.
serious?
Yes, dude, go to YouTube and just type in Randy Newman and just sit yourself down. And the guy's got the weirdest singing voice ever. A. B.
I agree with that. Yeah.
His lyrics are just nuts, right? Just all of his songs. Listen to Rednecks. Like,
Okay, so
I'm not going to
Googled-
repeat any of the lyrics from Rednecks.
How
on
did this guy
cast,
get
but-
picked up for the Toy Story soundtrack thing? Because Toy Story is kind of a big deal.
Because he's so famous. I don't understand. Randy Newman just writes about stuff he likes, right? Or stuff he doesn't like.
Okay.
That's
like
it.
Like
short
short
people committing
people?
suicide.
Yeah,
Oh.
But he loves the town L.A. so much that he wrote a song called "I Love L.A." and the lyrics are just shit you see when you drive around L.A. The guy's a nut, right? So if you don't like Toy Story, that's understandable because like all the songs were written by a complete lunatic.
I like Moana though. So
Yeah, that
I'm
was
excited
written
to go
by
to Hamilton.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. So
Right, Mr. Hamilton himself.
yeah, that makes sense.
Do you think he'll be in Oklahoma City for the show?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why he got famous, so he could travel to.
I googled Randy Newman. I googled Randy Newman short people, and the first thing that came up was a YouTube video that like filled up the Google results page. And this guy straight up looks like a serial killer from the 70s.
No, he looks like everybody look like.
Yeah,
you can
everybody
show-
in the
if you
70s
looked at
looked
a
like.
pi- no.
I've been
those
listening-
glasses,
glasses,
musician.
man. Those glasses.
If I showed
just-
you a picture and is like, is this Elton John, Randy Newman, or Warren Zevon? You wouldn't be able to do it. Like
Dude, I know
everybody
that
looked
one.
exactly the same.
That's Werewolves of London, bro. I know that song. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that one.
Everybody looked like. Is that Jackson Brown or Bruce Springsteen? Nobody could tell, right? Like everybody looked the same in the 70s.
Okay, we'll go back into Breaking Bulk.
No. So, okay, if you're listening to this cast still, you heard a blatant fadeaway into a nonsensical rant. That is After Hours. You didn't come here to hear that, but we were on the subject of Corbin's singing voice, and I had a great transition. So now I'm going to ask Corbin to sing the Breaking Bulk song for us.
That would require
Now.
me having... I haven't listened to the podcast. I don't know what the Breaking Bulk song is. Breaking Bulk. Breaking Bulk.
Our listeners aren't your 3-year-olds. God
Keep
damn it.
going. Don't stop.
It's time to do Breaking Bulk.
And now that we've caused 30 traffic accidents, let me introduce you to a colorless artifact from Commander 2014. Nursery rhymes from Brainstorm Nursery. Copyright 2019. Published by Aether Vial Records. Go.
It's common.
Uncommon colorless artifact from Commander 2014
14 is
Unstable
the
obelisk.
wide.
was originally printed in
Deretti.
Scars of Mirrodin.
Oh, it's a reprint.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's not unstable obelisk.
Okay, so an uncommon from Scars of Mirrodin.
Sure. The reprint is the one that's worth significantly more, but yes.
Is it a diamond?
No. Good
No,
guess,
there weren't
though.
any of those in Scars.
But that was not Scars of Mirrodin.
I actually know Scars is a set, but I am trying to think about it. What color was it? It's an artifact?
Yes.
Fortunately, there weren't many of those.
It
Is
is.
it Contagion Clasp?
It is 2 mana, but it is not Contagion Clasp. And
Okay,
Contagion
that
Clasp.
was my good guess.
Pristine talisman.
Contagion
No,
Clasp.
that's three mana.
No, yeah, it is. Shoot, and it's also not from Scars. Man, this is tough.
I
it
put
a
in my
creature?
one good guess to prove that I'm not trash at this game, so I'm done now.
Is it a creature?
It is not a creature, but to save the masses from suffering any further, I actually put this on the spreadsheet just recently. So you guys who are $10 and up patrons can check it
I
out
had
right
to
now.
pretend I didn't know.
But it is liquid metal coating. This is a 2-mana non-creature artifact that turns non-artifacts into artifacts, and you can Vandal Blast stuff. You can do some shenanigans with turning things into artifacts and tapping them for Urza. You can do a whole lot of wacky shenanigans.
Steal them with Memnarch, blow them up with Chandler. You can do all kind of stuff.
That's actually, I think, I haven't looked, so I don't know, but has it spiked recently? Like, because that is a thing with, it's a one of in all the Karn sideboards.
Well, JJ's gonna bam. There's a graph on the screen right now in your face, so you can see if it spiked or not. I know I have been paying 50 cents on this card for the past few months. At buy list tables, I just pull it out of binders or boxes, and I'm like, yoink, that's 50 cents. And sometimes people have a pile of them along with their Plague Stingers and their Contagion Clasps and all that shenanigans.
Yeah, Scars was a nice block for both.
The C14 one is better because they are more often near mint, and they sell quicker because it has the word Commander in the set title, which works for search engine optimization, which we've talked on this cast before. But
it also is in Commander Anthology Volume 2 if anyone has those.
Because it has
spiked because of it did spike along with Karn, so it's actually pretty nice. Now
it's just a good card, and I think one of our EDH rec writers does a toolbox. Is like, why isn't this in your toolbox? He wrote about cream of the crop this week, and I think his first article was liquid metal coating about all the ways you could use it and probably aren't and maybe should be.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
it's a unique card. I like it.
I've got one for you guys. I don't think this will be particularly difficult. I did.
He actually did.
So what we mean by the spreadsheet is if we don't record on Monday, sometimes we will just say, hey, we're going to record Tuesday, but we are going to put our stuff in the spreadsheet that our patrons that go to patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery give us $10 a month, which is $2.50 an episode, which we think is pretty cheap. They get access to that data. They see our pick of the week and our breaking bulk on Monday before the cast goes out to everybody on Friday. So.
And not just the current one. It's not just a spreadsheet where we replace the column every week. It is a spreadsheet dating back to 2017 of all of our pick of the weeks and all of our data and all the stuff. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to come in here with a 9th edition green card. And I might as well just tell you guys because it's dumb, but it has spiked because of a recent commander.
Summer Bloom.
It is not. It's an uncommon green card from 9th edition.
Is it a creature or non-creature?
It's a creature.
And it's not Groundseeker?
It is not.
Or Groundkeeper?
It has spiked recently to become a pick.
Shoot.
It also has Island Walk.
Is it Anacon?
It's a stupid bear.
It is. It's River Bear.
Oh boy.
I mean, it's kind of dumb.
Narc is mad at all of us for not getting
that. It's
I'm sorry, Narc. Liking bears isn't a personality, just like how liking Office or long walks on the beach isn't a personality.
Shots fired at the patrons, DJ. Come on.
Oh,
what's he gonna do? Stop being our patron?
So this is originally a portal card. River Bear is, but it's honestly just spiked because of Ayula or whatever the name of the bear commander is. Everyone's building their Bear Force 1 tribal commander deck. And
did they call it Bear Force 1? Did they sing the Nelly song?
Everybody calls it Bear Force 1 and thinks that they're the first person to ever come up with it.
Well, I got to retitle my article for next week on.
Nobody's thought to build the Ayula deck and put all of the really broken stuff like Mana Crypt and all of the absurdly powerful green cards in it and then call it barely legal. Nobody's done that.
I can't help you there.
Mana Crypt was actually printed in 1994, so it's legal.
But anyways, River Bear is allegedly $3 to $4 right now. You know, this is the spike price. It's obviously never going to be higher unless I guess Tribal Bears just becomes broken in Modern or whatever. But
if you have Portal Bulk like I do, every once in a while someone will be like, "Oh, Zodiac Chicken's $40," and then you just go through.
Well, it's also 9th edition is possible, right? I get 9th edition bulk in. Yep. Oh yeah. All right, Jason.
Do you guys not get Portal Bulk? I get Portal Bulk sometimes. It's fine. Okay. My card is
second age for what it's worth.
My card is cheating.
Okay.
It is from a forbidden set. However, it was bulk until last week, so I'm going to give myself a pass.
Okay.
It is a white common non-creature spell from Lorwyn.
Orwin.
Oh, I actually know what this is just based on checking out
Yeah.
Idiotric. I don't know how to
I've-
pronounce it, but it's the white instant that makes all your creatures the same color and gives them toughness or whatever. Or not the same color,
It
same
gives
same
them
creature
all
type.
creature
Yeah,
types.
yeah. It's
The spell is
changeling.
Shields of Valisvale. It is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
one
yeah.
mana shapeshifter instant. It has changeling.
Yeah.
Creatures target player controls get +0/+1 and gain all creature
Yep.
types till end of turn. If someone casts Wrath of God and you have your commander Atla Palani in play, all your creatures will become eggs and you will get triggers equal to the number of creatures in play. It is very good. If you have a sack outlay, you can just like, boop, I'm just going to get everything in my deck. Shields of Velasvale was bulk until very recently. We don't like to pick Lorwyn because everything lore and bulk is just nuts.
Yeah,
There's
this
not
was
a
one
lot
of
of it.
those.
Yeah.
This was one of those cards for me personally that it was bulk, but it was one of those cards where like I picked it out and then threw it in a box because one day it would be worth something. And then if you're a true Magic Finance expert wizard, you have since lost that box and have no idea where it was and went into a fit of rage when the
Yes.
card spiked and then you couldn't find your
And
copies.
you couldn't find them. That is what we do. We say, hey, I overpick. That's what I do. I overpick, and then I go and I like look at the spreadsheet afterwards, and I'm like, okay, these are picks and these aren't. And the stuff that I thought should have been a pick and wasn't, I don't throw back in bulk. I throw it in a separate box. And occasionally you will find out you were right. You know?
Yeah, I owned like 150 Thief of Bloods when War of the Spark came out, and I felt like a mastermind until I just had no idea where that box went. And then I found them in the box that they were supposed to be in, because I looked everywhere else because I assumed I didn't put them in this correct filter box for my inventory back here behind me. And then I was pulling out other C15 cards for a buy list order, and then I found a big old pile of Thief of Bloods when they were negative 8,000% of their high value from a couple months ago. So,
Yep. You did it. You did MTG Finance. Making those mistakes, not being able to benefit from your like correct intuition is it's a common MTG Finance theme.
yes.
Where you like buy a card, spec on it, sit on it for 3 years, and then you're like, screw it. You like sell out to break even, and then it goes up a month later. That kind of stuff.
I'll say this: there recently was a 12% kickback sale on Channel Fireball, which is our sponsor, and these are the cards we're talking about here. Are great if you're picking up your cards, if you're trading stuff in, and you're just trying to fill out an order, or you get some credit in your account. It's a really good way to fill out your cart, and kind of bring the cost down on the shipping. Because if you're already buying cards and you're getting them shipped, obviously the more you buy, the less the shipping per card costs or whatever, and you get free shipping and so on, right? So
How would you
if
get
anyone...
credit in your Channel Fireball account? Would it be for shilling super hard on the podcast when you said you weren't necessarily going to do things like that?
Hey, I mean, they do offer a good trade-in bonus.
Yeah, it's a great trading bonus.
There
Yeah,
are-
like I know I have like there's stuff I want to say about Channel that like I don't want to because it's going to sound like they're paying me to say it, but like legitimately, we do
There
business
are-
with Channel a lot.
Look,
okay,
the-
this is a completely unprepared side rant, but this is one of the best times in Magic for a player to extract value out of their cards. If you did not play in 2007 or 2008, it was the Wild West of buy listing, where you would walk up your $8 Balefire Leash to a vendor at a GP, and then they'd say, dollar, and then you would lose a shit ton of money because you didn't have a smartphone. And that sort of progression of like margins getting smaller for vendors has gotten more and more drastic to the point where there are a significant number of vendors who are willing to pay very, very high prices on a lot of cards. While Jason just finished chilling for Channel Fireball, 95 pays very good numbers at GPs because we can sell cards for slightly more. And then we make money on them. Like we pay like $15 in Arclight Phoenix at a GP because we sell it for 18 and we make $3 per card. But the goal in Magic Finance nowadays, as opposed to back then, is that it is a volume game for larger stores and not a margins game. So as opposed to trying to just get everybody, stores have to acknowledge that competition exists and sort of race to have the thinnest margins and highest volume count. And that is where stores like Channel and Card Kingdom and 95 all have to compete and offer very, very good numbers. To the point where, like, you can, as a player, reasonably put a large number of money into your collection, and then if you choose to invest that time when you're getting out, you can still retain that 80 to 90% of a return rate, which is unprecedented for any other hobby. Like if you get into snowboarding or paintball or video games or basically any other hobby that involves
everything
throwing
else
money,
is a money sink.
yeah, you get 10-20% out at max.
Magic's a money sink too, to be fair.
Well,
sometimes,
yeah.
yes.
our
So,
but, like,
podcast is called "Don't Be a Money Sink."
Yeah, so check it out. The buy list bonus, the trade-in bonus on Channel Fireball is very generous. So I would highly recommend anyone who's looking to get the most out of their cards, check it out. All right, next up, Commander 2019. We had
There's so many rough cuts where people are like, what did we miss out on?
Yeah, well, that's every week. Listen to the After Hours.
that's also every cast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
And if
that's
you're watching
true.
this on
DJ's right about
YouTube,
that.
in which case, thank you for watching us on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and finger blast the bell icon so you get notification whenever we do something new, like a new episode of the podcast or a new, I don't know, what else do we do on YouTube? Some stuff, right? So,
It's funny because in the notes this week, I have intro. No more announcements. No more plugs. Because last week was a bunch of announcements and a bunch of housekeeping. And now we're like,
I'm
boom,
sorry,
all the
I'm
plugs.
telling people this is available on YouTube if they're like listening in their car on their way to their job they hate. Why don't you go home and just put this on YouTube in the background, mute it, and like minimize the window, and just give us.
You say
a watch.
mute
So
it?
Thank you very much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Give us the view, he says. Give us what we really want is the average watch time. So yeah, if you could let the thing play to
Just
the
let
end,
it
that'd
play
be
all
great.
the way through the end. Put it on a loop.
Just let it autoplay for like 8 more hours. You'll only watch a little bit of Alex Jones. It'll be fine.
Who goes from? No, I don't even want to. All right, so Commander 2019 is going to be, I think, pretty fun. I had people at the store tonight talking about it. People seem pretty excited. Besides Egg Lady or whatever that card is called, what else do you think
Atla
is?
Polani, sir.
That's not a word I'm ever going to.
Oh no! I have another unplanned rant ready for this. All of a sudden,
Why?
it's actually relevant to Commander. Okay, it
Okay,
is
go ahead.
actually.
Go
You're the
ahead.
one who
Commander.
wants to leave at a certain time. All right.
Well,
This
part
is
of the cast.
actual BSB content. Okay, so there's a lot of people complaining in C19 that there were not value reprints, right? Like no Oracle of
Yes.
Moldiah, no Rhystic Study, no Cabal Coffers, no Mana Crypts, no Black Lotuses, no Judge Foil, Richard Garfield, Splendid Genesis, whatever. There are a lot of complaints. And while I still think the EV of the decks is fine, it is not C16, C6, C17. It is not, but it's higher than C18. It's like in the middle-ish there. I also strongly predict, I mean, this is my called shot, I strongly predict a Commander-focused product late this year that has yet to be announced, because...
Really?
Well, because if you think about, what did we get last year, right? We got UMA. Like, at the very friggin'... No, it was UMA. We got UMA like in December of last year at the very last friggin' minute, and we didn't know about it till like November.
Okay, well that is true. It was a very quick thing.
And
when did Commander Anthologies 2 come out? Was that before that, or was that? This year?
I'm not thinking it's an anthology. I'm expecting like
Okay.
an actual booster pack thing, like some sort of thing that distributors
Wow.
will throw out. Like we got Unstable in 2017, and we didn't know about that until like September or October or something like that. So I mean, I am strongly predicting some sort of large reprint scale of Commander-y stuff. Maybe it's some sort of Commander's Arsenal where it's like a big old box of staples. Maybe
That would be
I don't
cool.
know what it is. And I have 0% information. I'm just like,
This is just a cold shot.
There has to be something. If there's not, then yes, if there's no big product at the end of the year that has a lot of Commander goodies, yes, you have full right to be upset about whatever was not in C19. But there just has to be. I think there's some sort of like Oracle of Moldiah filled like what's the other card that everyone complains about?
Rhystic Study?
No, the black one. Rise of the Dark Realms. That's the other one. Rise of the Dark Realms. Like, there is something that, like, they just took every most played $10 card in EDH Rick, and I expect they're just throwing it in this like they did with UMA. So that is my call shot. I would love a product like that as a finance person. I would love to sell all of those goodies more frequently. But
Do a Commander's Arsenal.
There is,
That would be great.
I don't think there's enough cards for that, right? Like, if they pick 15 cards, there's still 30 others. So I think that there is some sort of booster pack UMA value-esque thing that will just shove a lot of cards into a product and be good for Magic.
That'd be pretty neat.
That's my called shot.
I like how you're like, oh, Bouchard left the cast. I'm the new bulk guy.
MTG Ryan.
Insane called shots for no reason. Also,
I mean, it is true that they are going to want something for Christmas, and Throne of Eldraine is what? Isn't the pre-release and actually in September? So it's not even like late October. So there is a bit of a gap with the way the releases are out these days. You know, if the next set isn't until January, February, like that's like a 3 to 4 month gap without anything new.
Oh my god, the Throne pre-release is September 27th.
I mean, unstable release date was December 8th, 2016. Ultimate Masters release date was December 7th, 2018. So, there's precedent.
Was there a 2017 in there?
No,
or was there
2017
nothing?
was unstable. UMA was 2018. So, like, I don't think there was one 2016 at the end of the year. I think it might have been, like, Explorers of Ixalan or some jank garbage.
Explorers of Ixalan was 2017.
No,
Ixalan was
but,
2017.
Like, no, you're right. But I don't.
But it doesn't matter. That's an
yeah.
eternity in Wizards World.
Yes. So I would be very, very surprised if there's not something.
Yep, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, on the subject of that, Jason, now that we've seen the lists, what are the cards that are financially relevant, both from the decks and from the reprints? You know, looking at them, I see something like Ghostly Prison, Clever Impersonator. These are kind of cards that strike me. River Kelpie, I had a play set of those. I kind of got blown out on that, but these are reprints that kind of strike me as getting out ahead of some of these cards that sort of have been climbing / are always climbing. Is there anything like that people are getting a discount on, or anything else from this set that sends out to you financially?
I think the new stuff's a little bit more relevant. Everything is super depressed. That isn't a new thing, right? Like, we're just at the point where everything's tanking. Like, all the reprints are going to be super cheap. You're looking at like $2 Chaos Warps and
buy them all.
You know, $3 Clever Impersonators. There's a lot of stuff that's like at its floor as a result of this. Like any Mythic under $1, like
the easiest thing you can do in Magic Finance is wait like for this set's release weekend and check some big name store for like $2.50 Soul Rings. And then just clear them out.
Every year.
Yep.
Every single year.
How much money do you make buying Soul Rings and Swiftfoot boots and Lightning Greaves and, you know... I think Magus of the Wheels at 89-cent card? Because I don't like...
No, Magus of the Wheels dead. That card's very, very dead. That was in Masters 25.
In Masters 25 might kill it. Commander won't.
Straight in the nuts.
Oh, is it Masters 25?
Yeah.
I thought it was depressed because of the... because it was in the Commander...
I will say that
yuck.
Some of these cards I didn't even like Soul Ring. I bought some today. I didn't even realize that they were that much again because it's the same thing. Like it's just every year it's crazy. But they really I know there's not a lot of like really high value reprints here, but what I do think they did in this year is they hit a lot of cards that would be $10 within a year or two.
Absolutely.
You know, that's another function of these products.
Yeah, they put the damper on like sprouting fires instead of like trying to control a raging inferno. Like instead of throwing like water on the $15-$30 Oracle of Moldiah or like trying to douse the $50 Bloom Tender, they focused on like a lot of little fires that were like the Kodama's Reach / Cultivate. One of those is in the decks, and I know one isn't. They put out the fires of like the all the smaller like $1-$3 stuff in like Bojuka Bog. Like if Bojuka Bog doesn't get a reprint, it's like $6 when it was starting to get up to like $4. So
but it kind of seems dumb to me because it's so like, oh, I heard you like Temp with Discovery, so we're gonna print that every couple of years. Like
it's fine, right?
I don't know. I would like some of that room to.
That card's been printed once every 3 years. It was C13, C16, C19.
To me, that's all. And like hitting Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots
on alternating like years,
and fine. Cultivate and like even stuff like Beast Within or whatever, right? Like to me, that stuff is just as important in the long term as hitting the Oracle of Moldiah. And it's also true that if you put like Commander isn't the product to hit Oracle of Moldiah.
No, because I was saying like it could shrug off a $20 to $25 card maybe, but people are like, why isn't Bloom Tender in there? And that's insane. That's not going to happen.
Well, I don't know.
What is going to happen is like a lot of they spread the value out. There's a ton of $3 cards in these, and like they're going to go to $1.50 and then back up to $3.
And they hit like stuff like Solemn. Like I know this isn't. Everyone wants to complain about the big ones, and I'm not saying any of those complaints are invalid because they're not, but. Keep in mind, not every product can, just like every product is not for everybody, not every product can do everything. Solemn Simulacrum, despite being printed 1 billion times, it hadn't been printed since Commander 2016. I guess there was an anthologies, but it was $6. Like, it was $6.50 until it's getting reprinted again. Like, it's not long before that card hits $10 again, and now it's like more difficult to reprint, right? So I know it's when people look at these. You never see the fire that doesn't start, right? You know, you can't prove a negative or whatever the saying is. So I just think that's something to keep in mind. And I think that things like that are important, even if they don't, you know, grab the headlines.
Yep. So I want to put in a very small aside because I don't think I have another 10-minute rant in me tonight. Okay. But there is a MTG Goldfish article that came out a few years ago, and it is titled "How Wizards Manages Its Savings Account," treating reprint equity across the board and trying to micromanage the correct place to put reprints. And while there are some egregious examples of missed shots over the years, like Damnation not being in from the Vault Annihilation, for example, and like whatever that green mythic that was supposed to be not Tree of Redemption was, like obviously there are some standard bearers that players get to rally behind and be like, oh, Wizards is the worst at reprinting stuff, but like there is this couple 1,000-word article on MTG Goldfish called "How Wizards Manages Its Savings Account." It is very, very well written and well thought out as to the logic and process behind selecting cards to reprint and the correct places that they find cards to put in those places. Like, sort of how Eye of Ugin got put in Modern Masters 2015 right before good old Eldrazi Winter ruined the format, and Eye of Ugin was still $40 for like a whole winter when people didn't realize that if it was not for that preemptive reprint, it would have been like $100 card. And how Mycosynth Lattice was put into Battle Bond, and people don't think about how if it was not in Battle Bond, then the Darksteel version would be $650 trillion because of the Karn Lattice lock. Like those are just
pretty
like
much, yeah,
reprints that people don't think about that severely positively impacted the game. I mean, maybe Karn Mycosynth Lattice doesn't positively impact your gameplay experience, but like those preemptive reprints go a long way towards helping the game be healthy from an economic standpoint, and I can empathize to a degree with certain missed shots, and I will certainly empathize a lot more with them if there is no December product. But go take a look at that article and then just sit and think on it for a while you're on the pooper.
Sponsored by Squatty Potty.
Hashtag not really.
On this, not anymore. All right, so Jason, what else from these decks? I mean, we talked about some of the things that are impacted by it, but what about the actual, you know, cards and the actual decks themselves? Like, what are you seeing?
Well, the stuff that's like depressed is easy money. Like they put a lot of $3 cards in here that are gonna just crunch to like $1.50, $2, and then go back up. Like, you know, stuff like Ash Barons. There's a risk, right? Like, you buy that stuff, does it go up over the next year, and does it get hit next year? Or are you safe? Yeah. Some stuff seems to be on like a 2-year reprint cycle. Some stuff like Temp with Discovery is on a 3-year reprint cycle. Some stuff is on a 1-year reprint cycle. It just look how often stuff is reprinted. They tend to just like figure that out the first time they reprint it. I think what's more telling here is the stuff that's not in it. They haven't put signets in this product for a while.
Yeah.
You know, this is a Lightning Greaves year, so your Swiftfoot boots are going to go up. I think the stuff that's not in here is going to be very significant. And if you look at the stuff that's going to get built in these decks, people are already giving you data on EDH Rec. If you go to EDH Rec and just type in any of the commanders, you type in Atla Palani, you type in, what's his name?
I'm not going to know. I don't know the names of the new cards.
Son of Yawgmoth, you know, you type in Angie Falconwrath. You look at the decks that are getting built around those cards, people are already telling you what the stuff they're playing with. And hey, if Chaos Warp gets reprinted, great, you know. But if Rhythm of the Wild doesn't get reprinted, well, hey, that could be a thing. So
That's
a lot of the
Go ahead.
yeah. So like Summoner's Egg, crap like that, stuff that should have been in the deck and wasn't, probably goes up. And I think if we were a different MTG Finance podcast, I think what we would do is be like, well, if stuff got reprinted in the deck, doesn't matter, just buy the foils. And there's something to that, right? Like, oh, Trail of Mystery, that could be in the deck, but it won't be in the deck in foil. Buy foils, because I know 100% of people are going to foil out their Trail of Mystery deck.
Right. Well, you brought up an interesting point, I think, with the talking about the reprint cycles. Honestly, and I'll admit, when these Commander deck lists come out every year, I kind of just, these are the reprints. And to me, Commander 2019 is one product, and I don't ever look at the deck. I just don't interact with the decks, right? I don't interact with them that way. It's all just one thing to me. So when I see the cards, I'm like, it seems like a random reprint. Or I just kind of look at the lists and I'm like, I see they did this, they did that. But I don't ever take into account the idea of the reprint cycle. So I think that's an interesting thing you bring up. I mean, do you think it's intentional on their part that Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots? Do you really do we think they actually have it down to that much of a science where they're like, these are the cards we want to hit within X time frame? I'm not going to say for financial reasons, but these are the cards that we think are healthy for Commander that we want to get into players' hands every year or every other year.
I think they might not do it intentionally, but I think they somewhat know what they're doing, right? I think they take a lot into consideration that we don't know about.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true.
But the fact that they don't not go 3 years without a Swiftfoot Boots or Lightning Greaves reprint shows that they understand what gets played in the format. They understand what gets played. I don't know where they're getting their data, but they have data. They look at stuff. They read posts on Reddit. They understand. They read tweets.
Well,
they know what people want. And if it's feasible to give them a Bloom Tender reprint, they'll give them a Bloom Tender reprint. But if it's not, they're just like, hey, we made Kadama's Reach not $7. You're welcome. But no one ever thanks them.
Right, of course. Well, I think the Bloom Tender is an interesting one to talk about. That card's really $50 now. I was like, it's like $35.
Pretty good. They keep printing 5-color commanders.
So I mean, that card's great. So I think what's an interesting one to look at here is Seaborn Muse, because Seaborn Muse was almost $30 a year ago.
Yep.
And that's and then it got reprinted in Battle Bond. But the thing, and now it's in Commander 2019, and they'll bring it down
Wizards
even more.
They had
it couldn't be there before.
They couldn't preemptively print Seaborn Muse because the Commander Rules Advisory, or not the Commander Advisory Board, the Commander Rules Board or whatever.
Rules Committee.
The Sheldon people, the Sheldon and Co. They're like, hey, we don't like Prophet of Crufix, and everyone's like, oh well, Seaborn Muse then. That's what happened. It was on the basis of a banning that Wizards had nothing to do with.
It's true. It spiked hard a couple years
quickly
ago.
enough because they're on a 1-2 year
Yep. Well, it's a year. It's a year lead time for the supplemental sets.
Yeah, and that's forever.
Yes.
So that gets banned. Seaborn Muse and Awakening go up overnight, and Wizards like, oh, okay, wow, we're gonna give you a Seaborn Muse at the earliest opportunity we have, which is forever.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting. I think that to note that Seaborn Muse in this product is great, but it could not have been in this product if it had not been in Battle Bond, which was an actual set with open to packs. To bring the price down, it would have been $40, and then you could never put it.
Yeah,
you could never. It would have been priced out of a Commander deck at that point, and now it's actually going to be at a level where, they could print this every other year, and they can keep this card under $10.
Moldaya and Battle Bond 2 or whatever's coming out this year, then maybe it'll be eligible. Because I like to say a $20 card can shrug off a reprint in a Commander deck, but they're never going to jam a $40 card in there, and it doesn't matter how much they say MSRP should be.
True name.
Well,
yep, that's the lesson. Yeah.
Well, but that was a new card. They didn't know it was a $40.
No, that's what created the lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't want one deck that is far and away the best, and they're not great at that. They did the stupid Atraxa deck, but for the most part, the last couple of years the decks have been fairly even.
And then
these decks look real even.
Yeah, I like how the counter argument that I've heard on Twitter to that is like, we'll just put a $40-something card in just put a Bloom Tender in every deck. It's like, yeah, then every deck gets bought out, and then no random player can fight that. Like,
then no one can get them.
It's not just, oh, I guess I settled for not Might and Seize. It's, oh, I guess I settled for the next year's Commander decks.
Yeah.
Speaking of, though, expensive cards in Commander, Cyclonic Rift is $20, and not in this year's set decks. It has to be due for a reprint, right? And it's going to be $30 at this rate. Like, we're about to have another. Remember, we talked about this.
It's
They're not
going to
banning
get banned.
I've talked to the rules committee about it. It's not getting banned.
What about the Commander Advisory Group, guys?
I've talked to them about it too. I've tried. Trust me, I've tried. It's not getting banned. But here's the thing about Cyclonic Rift, though. It's going to be $25, $30. It can't be in Commander sets at this point. We always talk in for those people who are new to the cast, but you see a lot of times the summer and kind of where we're at now, but like the June, July, August time period is kind of one of the worst times for cards rising. And as you get towards the fall, they start to rise, and then they seem to go crazy in the first, 3 to 4 or 5 months of the year. And we've always attributed it to a lot of things. I mean, that's when the new set comes out. Every year, rotation happens. The fall set was always historically the big set, and that's what would bring people into Magic. Then you get past the holidays, people have their spending money back, they get tax returns. And we've always attributed that to seeing cards rise much more. Well, Cyclonic Rift has not been reprinted unless it happens to show up in Throne of Eldraine or whatever product DJ is talking about in December that may happen. We're going to enter that time period with Cyclonic Rift coming in at $20, and then it's going to be $30. And then it's the more expensive it gets, the fewer places it can be reprinted. The more expensive it gets, the more likely it is to be a mythic when they do reprint it. And all of these things make for very expensive Cyclonic Rifts. If they want to do the Seaborn Muse treatment to it, they're going to have to do it pretty soon because it's going to be, I don't want to make it a pick of the week or anything like that because like a $20 card going to $30 is not really like a great use of your money. You're just spending a lot to make a little, but that's what's going to happen to the card. So it's just going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yeah. These decks are, they seem pretty. There's like parity between the decks, and I think people, like if you look at last year, people were a little disappointed, but if they hadn't been charged an extra $5, I think they would have been fine with them.
Yeah, that's 100% what happened last year.
I think that's why. And I think people were a little disappointed because they thought they were going to be juiced this year and they kind of weren't. But like, I think if you look at the cost of the decks, like if you look at last year's decks, like to go retail buy all the cards in the Lord Windgrace deck, it's like $80-$90 to go buy all that stuff on, Channel or TCG Player or Card Kingdom. So like, he's like, oh, it's $35 instead of 30. This is bullshit. But like, if you look at what the cards are actually worth, and that's taking into account, like paying $1 on dollar rares, you can't get that money back out. Like, I wouldn't recommend paying $40 or $50 for the decks and trying to flip it because like you're gonna get 10 cents for a lot of those cards that are at $1 in the calculations. But there are a lot of $5-$6 cards in those decks that like revealed themselves to be $6 cards in the last year, and one of them is my pick of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Well, as long as we're on the topic of $5-$6 Lord Windgrace deck cards that have revealed themselves to be quite good, my Breaking Bulk was from the Atla Palani deck. My pick of the week is also from Atla Palani. My card makes eggs. It is Nesting Dragon.
It makes eggs?
It makes eggs. When
Yeah,
a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/2 red dragon egg creature token with Defender.
Crud! I passed on buying one of those today. I should have bought one.
Well,
I didn't actually realize it was $5.
That's
Well,
a
yeah,
that's a
they're
real
like-
card, yeah.
But that's not a $5 card. That was a $5 card before Atla Palani was
Yeah,
was
yeah, it's
printed.
about to be a $10 card.
I can't see this not being in any Atla Palani deck. It makes really easy to kill eggs.
Yeah.
With landfall triggers, and that's real good. So every time you play a land, you have something you can strap out a Phyrexian altar to get a creature off the top of your deck. It's quite good, and it was $5 just on the basis of like, yeah, whatever. So I think with the the relative scarcity of like it being in the Lord Windgrace deck that I don't really see on shelves anymore. Like I think that's a $10 card.
All right,
If it doesn't hit 8, I will be flabbergasted. If it hits 10, I'll be I'll be like, yeah, call that shit.
All right, I'll jump in. This is I'll preface this with saying this is a card I definitely expect to see in Commander decks in the future, and would not be surprised if it became a staple year to year. But I do think it's climbed just a little over the last couple weeks, and it's showing more strength. I think it's probably going to go from the $2 it's at now to 4 or 5. But Lifecrafter's Bestiary out of Aether Revolt is just very good. It's a 3-mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you can pay green. If you do, draw a card. It's just generically good. It's cheap. It can only be played, I think, in green decks, right? Because of how the rules work.
Yes.
Yep.
So that keeps it from going too crazy. That said, this is the kind of effect the green decks desperately want. So, I mean, I think
card draw. Yeah, this was a card that I was just like,
we loved it back
when
it was printed.
If you have Kaladesh bulk rares or whatever, and this is a Kaladesh bulk rare, trade for stuff like this that's going to maintain.
Yeah, it actually went up a little bit. It's weird. It's kind of been on a weird price trajectory. I'm not going to say it spiked, but it climbed from the 90 cents it was or whatever to over $2 a year and a half ago, and then it fell back down to 90 cents. I suppose rotation had something to do with that because it was a card played in Standard. It was a really important card for a while, but now it's climbed again, and this tells me that this is the Commander demand, and this is just going to continue with everything else that we've talked about here. And like I said, I don't want to hold on to these forever. I'm not stocking these away for 2 years from now because it is going to end up in a Commander deck at some point, but it's not right now, which means it's probably going from 2 to 4.
Kaladesh boxes are like cheaper than you think on eBay. They're still under $200.
For which?
Kaladesh.
Lifecraft's Bestiary is from Aether Revolt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is Kaladesh really that expensive? I thought boxes on everything was just trash these days.
I have Kaladesh boxes that I'm trying to sell for $150, and I have Aether Revolt boxes that I'm trying to sell for $125, which is like 10% ish below eBay buy it now.
I'm actually
just
a little
like
shocked.
Everything
actually,
from there's going to be so many $4 cards in that set that are going to be like $10.
I mean, Kaladesh is kind of an exception just because it had good masterpieces. Like BFZ is.
That's true. That's
like
true.
BFZ, I tried to sell for $120.
The masterpieces probably changed things.
Like Oath of the Gatewatch.
Oath
of the Gatewatch is like the runt of the group, and I sell the boxes for $90.
Yeah, when you can open up like a Mana Crypt masterpiece in Kaladesh, right?
Yeah.
Is that the one that was?
You get Soul Ring
that
and
changes
Mana
the
Crypt,
math.
so it's like
the $500 foils or whatever, that changes the math a little bit. Good to know. All right, DJ, what do you got?
So GP Minneapolis is this weekend. It is one of my favorite cities in the entire country to visit. Everybody's super nice. I think the Canadian bleeds down. And I watched a lot of people complain about Hogak while selling to me. But one brave soul did not play Hogak. Ryan Overturf played Mono Red Prowess and smashed some fools. He did not win the GP, but he did get top 4. And his Mono Red Prowess deck has 4 Bedlam Revelers. I do not think that Hogak is long for this world, nor do I think that a lot of other people think Hogak is long for this world. But there will be open metagame slots afterwards. And Bedlam Reveler used to be like $3 or $4, but it just crept down to like the 1 or 2 range.
It's because
Mardu
Bedlam
Pyromancer
Reveler
died.
was played he had the Mardu Pyromancer.
No,
deck.
I know,
And,
and that's what I'm saying.
They gave us Seasoned Pyromancer and like
It's
only
Mardu
Jund decks
Pyromancers now.
Yeah, but the deck isn't really played as much as like I think Seasoned Pyromancer is basically the only deck playing. Or Jund is the only deck playing Seasoned Pyromancer right now. But like, I think if they ban Hogak and don't ban Faithless Looting, like I hope they don't, I think that deck could come back. And in which case, like that's another deck that wants Bedlam Revelers.
Well, I'll say this: the card that is the kind of card that is perfect for that deck, and I think people are going to see this when Hogak is inevitably banned after whatever Hogak versus the World at Vegas. Rin and 6 is broken, guys. That card is. I can't even speculate as to what's going to happen with its price because it's already so expensive.
It's
but
going up.
that card is busted. Like, and we're going to see how powerful to me, it is a card. And I won't
It
go on too
makes
much of a
merfolk
rant here.
bad.
It actually doesn't. No, it actually, like, it doesn't even. But it does invalidate a lot of Noble Hierarch decks and a lot of Birds of Paradise decks. And honestly, it's kind of, I'm not going to say oppressive, because I don't think it's oppressive, but it is just such a powerful card that costs you so little to play. I do think it's going to have
like $90, dude. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Everybody that said Tybalt could be good because a 2-mana Planeswalker seemed broken was right, and they were only off by 8 years.
Yeah. So I think it's just a card that is going to be a pillar of Modern for many years to come. And I think honestly, it's because the Jund deck can play it even when it's quote unquote bad. I don't mean it costs you not a lot in terms of being 2 mana, but like even in its worst case scenario, the card is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, when it's good, it's so absurdly good. So something like Mardu Pyromancers, I mean, that deck's probably actually decent. That deck's probably good against Jund because of Lingering Souls, right? But that's what people are going to have to start to look at, because a lot of decks get a lot worse because Wrenn and 6 exists. And once Hogak's gone, I kind of feel like we're going to see that. So what I was going to say earlier, talking about Modern, just briefly, is one thing people need to understand is when Hogak gets banned, all those cards are going to drop, blah, blah, blah. But something that people might not realize is that we're going to see a shift in the graveyard hate from the current Leyline of the Void, Tormod's Crypt strategies to some of the older ones we used to see, the Rest in Peace or the Relic Progenitus. So I've seen Tormod's Crypts buy listing at really high prices right now for what they are and how often they've been reprinted. And stuff like that is going to drop off a cliff when Hogak gets banned or sooner. So if you have any of that stuff, I would just keep that in mind.
Happen, right? Because they said they weren't doing an emergency banning,
Correct.
Which means the scheduled banning 2 weeks from
believe.
now.
Yeah.
So you have until then.
I mean, also, Monastery's Whisper and Soulscar Mages are 1/2s, and they not ignore, but they play well against Wrenn and 6, and they smash its face with Lava Darts and Lightning Bolt. I think Ryan's deck is fantastic. Bedlam Reveler, I think, could easily go back to $5 or $6 if it sees a increased amount of play. It doesn't have to be in a Mardu Pyromancer shell. It could just be mono red, and you could just be casting it for 2 mana, refilling your hand, and just beating the hell out of people.
All right, let's close out on a From the Vault email. There is a song for this one.
This is the segment all about how Corbin didn't read your emails and he got blown out. So if you transcribed a set review, too fucking bad for you.
All right, onward.
From the vault. If we didn't read your email, don't blame Jason all.
The shingles on the roof.
Yeah, but please don't sing it.
Corbin, sing
I
it.
won't sing it. I'm not.
Hey, look, I'm your kid. Stop
to...
singing. No, sing it, Corbin. Do it.
From the vault. From the vault. If we didn't read your email, it's not Corbin's fault.
What?
That's not the lyrics at all.
You're going to be mad at me when I read this email, actually, Jason.
Why would I be mad at you?
All right, everybody. If you don't know, From the Vault emails is when we go look at all the emails we haven't read from many years ago. We've been podcasting for 7 years. And some years we've been better at reading emails than others. So this email comes to us from Patrick Jose. And it was sent on August 13th. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Literally, I didn't even plan this. Literally exactly 5 years ago. 2014. So it says, "Gentlemen, my name is Patrick Jose, and I've been listening to your podcast for a little over a year. I've been playing Magic on and off since 1994. Like some, I offloaded my childhood collection early on for what might as well have been a pocket full of dice. However, I now find myself with a decent collection and been doing a pretty good job trading up into Modern and Legacy. I'd like to say thank you for all the finance advice you have provided in the whole community. I truly feel that without it, I would not have been able to afford to play as much as I do, let alone afford to be the least bit competitive. To show my appreciation, I would like to send you all care packages, which will include a sampling of delicious craft beer from Ska Brewing Company, where I am a professional brewer. Thank you again, and let me know where to send the barley pop." That's it.
So,
kind of wish we'd got that beer, though, huh?
When you said I would be mad at you, and I said that's ridiculous,
you were wrong.
I was wrong.
Yeah, I know. So
imagine if we had an adult in charge of reading our emails. At any point, email him back right now. Be like, "Hey, we just read your shit on the cast. Thanks for You probably stopped listening years ago, but hey, thanks.
Would you like one more? I have another short one.
Is it gonna upset me?
Not as much as that one. I know that.
Okay, all right.
I'm also kind of sad we didn't read that one. This is from Michael Oliver. This is from September 4th, 2014. Hey, Brainstorm Brewery guys. Love the podcast. Just a few quick questions. I recently bought into Modern and am wondering what the announcement of the fetches will do to current staples. I keep reading that it might just make everything else worse since the reprint will let more players enter Modern. So do you see Goif, Bob, Click, and others rising again once Cons comes out? The only thing that could help stabilize prices.
I am so glad that I am not on the hook for any of these emails.
The only thing that could help stabilize prices
much money
would be
tied up in Tarmogoyf.
I'm
They're
not
$200. What do I do?
The only thing that could help stabilize prices would be Modern Masters 2, and we probably won't get an announcement for that until October. Thanks, Michael. So let's answer his question.
Rash, Michael. I hope you didn't do anything stupid, man.
On that note of this episode being chopped into multiple different entities, interjected with several after hours, let's just softly fade into the night on the note of people learning their lesson to not listen to this pod. This is episode number 308 billion or something, but it's episode number 2 on Channel Fireball, and we have already given people a myriad of reasons not to listen. Thanks, everyone.
Myriad
Send us your
means
emails.
10,000, so it's not a myriad of, it's just myriad. We've given them myriad reasons.
Thanks, Jason.
Send us your emails. We'll definitely read them at some point. I think what we're doing here is proving to people that we are committed to reading emails, even though back then I wasn't allowed to do emails because Jason and Ryan and Marcel would yell at me.
Corbin, can you please explain why you need a different machine to bring up from the vault emails? Because
this is what I'd like to know. Corbin's like, oh, we're doing from the vault emails. Let me go get my from the vault emails laptop.
Yeah, we're podcasting on a computer right now. And so he said, oh, we're going to do emails from the vault. Let me get my other computer. So explain to the class what that means.
Look, so I don't know if y'all have ever tried to use Microsoft and their online services, but they're low-key trash. Okay, not like Channel Fireball's online services, which offer incredible content, great prices, and a very solid buy list.
You got one in there.
But Microsoft is trash. So I use my student email from when I was in college, which was recently, I promise. I'm not old like Jason.
What are you, class 2010?
11. So I have it. It's on like Outlook on my laptop, so it loads up automatically and I can find it. If I try to log into it through the web on my desktop, it says, what is this account? Where are you trying to sign in from? We don't recognize you. And I say, okay. Try to enter my password. It says wrong password. Try to give it my other email to send an email to. And it says, okay, we'll send a confirmation email to email. And the email it tries to send it to is an email that doesn't exist. Because like at some point my student email changed. It's a disaster and Microsoft is trash. And at some point I even tried to do like a really intense recover your account thing. And that didn't work either. It said, you have not provided, like it was like a thing that got manually reviewed by a human, I think. And they sent an email back a few days later. It was like, you were not approved or whatever. So occasionally I can get it to log in sometimes. But it's a lot easier to just open up the laptop.
But you could also forward all of the criminal emails to the BSB Gmail and then put them in a folder, right?
No.
Why not? Why not?
That was Brainstorm Brewery, everybody. We'll see you next week.
This is DJ Johnson, Jason Alt, and Corbin Hostler. We're all on Twitter. There's stuff in the show notes. Good night. It's 1 a.m. I'm going to bed.
Bye.